Our third reader will be Liya Chernyakova. She is a Ukrainian-American poet and songwriter, and she was born in Kharkiv, Ukraine. Several of her Russian language poetry collections have been published in the US and in Ukraine. She has been a winner at a number of poetry festivals, including the Road to Temple, Parnas Games, God Saves Everything, Especially Words, World Cup in Russian Poetry, among others. She took part in the Parnas Games Festival as an independent juror and was a featured poet in the Horseshoe of Pegasus Festival in Vinica, Ukraine. She has translated Russian language war poems of Ukrainian poets into English, and her English poems have been featured in several different journals. Liya holds a master's in physics, math, and computer science. So welcome, Liya. We are anxious to hear your work.
Good evening, and thank you very much for inviting me. It means a world for me to read about my experiences of this war. And as Gary mentioned, this war didn't start now. It started 8 years ago. So my first two poems are dated a little bit before today. One of them is sort of dedication to the poet that I translated a lot, Oksana Stomina. And this is how it reads. It's called There Is Only You. When time is leaking through the looking glass, when every cricket hero sings alas, there is no second chance, no second glance allowed. When sun is shrunk, retracting every beam, the trees stand naked with their branches trimmed. The linings are not silver, dull and grim in clouds. When all phantoms are rising from the dust, entrapping you in their macabre dance, no eyes to smile, no hand to trust, no path to follow. When words are silenced by the tones of gold, and no sound penetrates the wall, there is only you to save the giant world from falling. And I sort of included this poem because it very much relates to the lady that I translated a lot. She approached me in 2015. Her name is Oksana Stomina. She is a great poet, Mariupol-based, but she's also a great citizen, a great patriot. She stayed in Mariupol through the first invasion in 2014, 2015. And she stayed in Mariupol this time until she was literally forced to evacuate. She was helping the defenders, being on the ground and, supplying them with everything they needed to fight. So this is Oksana Stomina's poem translated by me. It's called Silence. And as I translated it, it gave birth to another poem of my own that I will read following the translation. But first, Oksana Stomina. This poem was written in 2014-2015. And unfortunately, all the events for Mariupol are repeating in a grand scale. It's much worse than it was before. So it's just a glimpse of what happens in Mariupol. Silence. In the beginning was the word, Gospel of John. As was reported by Crisis Center, the defense of Mariupol, starting Sunday and until today, not a single shelling started in Sector M. For the fourth day straight, the ceasefire is being observed from press releases of February 2015. And once again, the rumor spreads and mounts. But who trusts rumors when our case so dire? For 4 nights straight, we're holding seas of fire, but I'm afraid to say it out loud. And peeking out from my hiding hole, the bigger world, unsure timid mouse, I listen to the lull of musical pause, admiring how it's skillfully performed. I recently have learned to not rely on, try not to scare away it accidentally, but silence thunders harsh as heavy metal and echoes to the very fear of mine. I'm waiting. I'm afraid it's not for real. Meticulously search for tunes that off key, but silence sounds so strange and lofty, such endless, that it brings my soul to tears. We gradually, slowly getting used to it, including me, my house, and my backyard. We're all aware. The first will be the word. The word has final say here, all as usual. And yes, and as I was trying to translate it and preserve all the meanings that she had in her poem, I wrote the one of my own, but the time brought corrections to this poem, so I had to change the cities in the end of it. And probably those cities will sound familiar to you right now because they appear in the news very often. Spring of wars, but silence thunders harsh as heavy metal. Oksana Stomina. Those manuscript ashes are knocking doors like a newborn phoenix with broken wings. It's gonna be a drama. It's gonna be war. Will they ever let in this bolt-shaped spring? Will they cover her head with the needles of grass once that tear her flesh into birds' reels and copes? Will the left-over fabric of feverish sky blues be enough to carve out a few timid crocuses? It will not crack the ice, will not rattle the tin, baguette on the streets will span-handled sun gold. Traitor silence is taken over the key tunes into frozen breath of the marching souls. But filling her palm with the fresh morning smile, I just keep repeating with hope so desperate, they will not get drawn in the blood. They will rise. Mariupol, Kharkiv, Kiev, Odessa. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Liya, for reading and for reading the poet's poem that you translated as well. We really appreciate that.